Hey guys, hello and welcome to Naveed for Speed. In today's video, I am going to be showing you around this car. It's the Volkswagen ID.7 Tourer. So what is it? It's Volkswagen's first electric estate car, and it has some cool technology in there, and it's supposed to be a little bit more premium. It rivals cars like the BMW i5 Touring. But let me show you in this video. I'm going to show you around the exterior of the car, I'm going to show you around the interior of the car, and then I'm going to take it out to drive. Now, because this is a Volkswagen car, I quite like Volkswagen vehicles. They've got a vast variety of product range, and they have really good refinement in their products. Of course, they are a powerhouse in terms of the different cars that they offer and the design quality of what they offer, and that's why the platform that cars like this is sat on has been borrowed by other Volkswagen Group vehicles. But this ID.7 Tourer, of course, is the estate version of the ID.7. So let me show you exactly what it's like. We'll start with the exterior because I'll show you the front of the car, because it comes with these matrix LED headlights over here, and you also get like a light bar over here. This front badge is illuminated as well, and generally the front of this car just seems like it's going to be quite aerodynamic. Obviously it's an electric car. You do have channels in the side over here to channel air down the sides of the car. As we come towards the side of the car, I just want to show you these alloy wheels. Now, the ID.7 Tourer comes with 19-inch alloy wheels as standard. These particular ones are an optional extra 20-inch Montreal black alloy wheels, and obviously they've got this diamond cut surface as well. They look like they're going to be quite aerodynamic because they block off most of the wheel over here. Of course, this is an electric car, so it's got to be quite aerodynamic, so you can maximize that range, and I'll tell you about the range of this car shortly. As we keep moving towards the side of the car, you'll notice the back of the wing mirror backs are black, this gloss black over here, and I think that looks really cool. One thing I don't like about this car is the door handles, because they don't really come out. You just sort of press a button behind here. But I mean, it looks like it's quite streamlined down the side of the car, and you can see generally down the side of the car everything is quite streamlined. That air can channel along bits along here. You can see this really nice sort of this body skirt area over here, which contrasts the paintwork, and you've got this line that goes all the way along. Again, I imagine it's to channel air nicely through the car. Now, because this is an estate car, it is quite long. In total, this car is just under 5 meters. It's about 496 centimeters long. So it's not a small car, but I imagine that should translate really well to practicality. Let's keep going towards the back of the car, because you'll notice here you can see more of this roof area, which is gloss black. Again, this is part of one of the packs that has been added to this car, and I think it looks really cool. I'll show you more about the roof, or at least from the inside of the car you can see the sunroof that's in there as well, which has a really cool feature. Let me take you towards the back of the car, because back here you also got this light bar that runs across here, and you've got this illuminated Volkswagen badge. In fact, if you hold on right there, I'll try and turn that on. So if I open the door over here, can we see that? There we are. So look at that. I mean, that looks really cool, especially at night. That should illuminate nicely. I've mentioned before, I don't really like light bars. I think they work on the back of the car, definitely not on the front of the car. But there we have it. I'll just turn that off for a second. Right, you can see the side of the taillights over here. They have this 3D effect, which I think looks really cool over here as well. But overall, I think the back of the design is pretty conservative. There's not much in the way of sharp edges. There's not much in the way of bold designs, but it just looks really good. You know that you're following a Volkswagen product over here. So anyway, let's open the boot by clicking the button over there, and that's electronically assisted. Now back here, because this is an estate car, you would expect there to be a decent amount of luggage space. So with the back seats up, which they are currently, you get 605 litres of boot space back here, and you can fold those back seats with a 60-40 split, and you can get over 1900 litres of boot space back there. So that's quite convenient. That's if you load the car all the way to the top of the windows. And you also get a little area that you can fold down, so you can a ski hatch, so you can load through as well. And the boot floor The boot floor does go lower, but obviously you got charging cables and stuff down there, so it's probably a good idea to leave the boot floor there. Anyway, that's the exterior of the car. Let me show you what the interior is like. So let me tell you about the interior of the Volkswagen ID.7 Tourer. Now, what is it like in here? Well, to start with, I have to mention the seats, because the seats come with this art velour micro suede material, which is soft to touch, comfortable to sit on, and these seats are heated and they are massaging as well, and electronically adjustable, so that's really convenient. What isn't electronically adjustable is the steering wheel, however, because you have to manually adjust it. But that's there, you can see how much movement you get in the steering wheel. But anyway, you get leather in the steering wheel as well. You get leather around the rest of the cabin, along with some I mean, do we get plastics? Yeah, we get plastics a bit lower down. But yeah, you get some interesting materials. If you go back to the steering wheel for a second, you get these haptic feedback buttons on the steering wheel, which obviously we've seen on other Volkswagen vehicles. You do have to press them a little bit. You have to put a little bit of pressure in order to touch them, in order to make them work. But yeah, then you got gloss black and everything, plastics in the steering wheel and the rest of the car as well. You'll have noticed from inside this here, maybe you won't have because it's daylight, you've got this interior ambient lighting with this really cool pattern that extends from the door all the way along the dashboard, underneath the infotainment system, and all the way in front of the passenger as well. I think that adds a little premium touch to the car, and I think that looks really quite cool. Talking about pretty cool, I have to mention this infotainment screen in front of you. This is a 15-inch infotainment screen, and I think that's really good size. It has Volkswagen's new system in it. It's quite responsive. It has loads of different apps that you can use up here. You can change a load of stuff. You can also set your shortcuts up here as well, so you can choose what shortcuts you want. And it has your climate controls down the bottom here. Now I'm not really a big fan of that, but I mean, at least it's there for when you need it. And you've got these backlit buttons over here for your climate control and for your volume, which I'll turn off right now. But yeah, that's your infotainment screen. It is satisfyingly, sufficiently responsive, so that's really quite good. I have used the sat nav in this car, and it is interesting. It's really polite because it says please a lot. The sound is really interesting, but the good thing that I like about the satellite navigation system is that it actually warns you as you're approaching a turn. So it will tell you, okay, please prepare to turn left, and then when you get close, it'll tell you to turn left. Maybe that might be annoying to some people, but to some people it could be actually really quite helpful, so that's good. Let me tell you about the center console area, because obviously it's an electric car. You don't need a central transmission tunnel, so you've got all the space to do what you need to do. So you've got cup holders in the middle over here, which is where I had the key just then. Cup holders in the middle. You've got all the storage area here. Oh, can I take that out? I can take that out, and there you go. You've got more storage in the middle over here. Let me just stick the cup holders back in there. More storage over here with USB charging ports over here, and then you can just close this whole thing like this if you don't want to see anything and get everything out of sight. That's convenient. But Volkswagen have also made use of the space underneath down here, so you can store stuff down here as well. That's quite convenient. Again, stuff that can go out of sight. And then you've got storage behind all that over here in the central armrest, and you've got quite a lot of space in there. That's quite deep actually, so that's good. Quite like that. Again, you could put stuff in there to just put away. One thing where there isn't a lot of space is here in the glove box. It's just half a glove box over here, so do bear in mind, just use the rest of the car for your storage. But your door bins are reasonable size as well. What's this in the door bin? Bit of rubber in the door bin. You got space here in the door bins. You've got, it's lined with this soft material as well, so that's good. But yeah, overall storage is quite good. I do have to mention one of the features which I don't like about this car are these door handles. These handles that you have to sort of pull here, which aren't always the easiest to get your fingers into, because that's as far as it goes. So you just have to sort of pull your hand into there and open the door. So that could probably get annoying, but I suppose you might be able to get used to it and just use, I reckon it's probably intended to just use one finger. So that's that. A few features of this car which I have noticed from other cars. One is the drive mode selector, which is this stock back here, which is something which you might have seen from Cupra Born and other vehicles like that. So you use this stock to change it into drive, reverse, park mode, whatever mode you're using, which means that this stock on this side is the one that deals with your lights and your windscreen wipers. So everything else works on this stock. Also, one thing I've seen from other cars is the from the Ford Explorer, you'll have noticed the windows. So you can use this button to put the windows down, but then if you want to put the rear windows down, you then have to click this button there to arm the rear windows, and then the rear windows you go down. So you have to choose which windows you want to use using those buttons over there. But I'm going to end this interior segment on something more positive, which is the pedals. The accelerator and brake pedals have a really cool play and pause button on them, which I really quite like. That's just a little gimmick, but it's really cool. I think it's quite light-hearted, and it doesn't take itself that seriously, so that's nice. Although actually I did mention before I go, I lied, that wasn't the last thing. I do want to mention this sunroof. I do like this sunroof because you can make it transparent. And how do I do that? I did it earlier. Oh, there we go. It's transparent. I had to start the car. It's transparent, and then you can make it frosty with a swipe of your finger. So that's really quite good. Yes, I started the car by simply pressing my foot on the brake, just like the Ford Explorer. You can press the brake to start the car, and to leave the car, you just put the car in park, and you can just open the door, and the car will turn itself off. I do have to mention the driver instrument cluster over here, which is really thin. That's actually really small. Now, I've seen these small instrument clusters, driver displays on cars like the Cupra Born, Ford Explorer, but that is really thin. I mean, I suppose at least it's not distracting with all different fancy graphics. You've just got that in front of you. But then again, if you need all that extra fancy graphics, you've got cancel. The voice recognition system came up on me there. You've got this 15-inch screen in the middle if you need to use that. So yeah, I mean, that's your lot in here, I think. Let's take it out to drive. Right, so here we go in the Volkswagen ID.7 Tourer. So what is it like to drive? Well, to start with, I've got to say the seating position, I feel like I'm sat quite low down in comparison to the entire car. But I feel like because of the electronically adjustable seats, I can give myself a more upright seating position. So that's good. As I just set off, the car is really sensitive to your inputs. So if you give it a bit of a slow input in terms of accelerator, it'll move off nice and slowly. But if you were to put your foot down a little bit more, it can be quite abrupt in the way that it accelerates, as I just did there. It's got progressive steering, this particular version, because of the extra pack that it has on it. So I'll let you know exactly how the progressive steering wheel works. But let me tell you a little bit about, first and foremost, some of the things that I didn't mention in the interior, which is, firstly, the rear seats. Just on this roundabout, let's see how it tackles going around a corner. I mean, there doesn't seem to be many dramas if you're driving it nice and calmly like I am now. But yeah, like I said, the rear seats perfectly fine for passengers carrying 5 passengers. There is a little bit of a bump for the middle passenger, but legroom is plentiful just because you've got this really long wheelbase. So you've got loads of space back there, and headroom's okay as well. Now let me tell you about the different specs or trim levels of this car, because you've got the Pro, you've got the Pro S, and then you've got the GTX. So the one I have is the Pro S, which is the middle spec. It's the one with the longest range because it has the larger 86 kilowatt hour battery, but it doesn't have the dual motors. The dual motors are in the GTX version, which has well over 300 horsepower. This one has less horsepower, but this one has the longest range at 424 miles. The GTS X has the least amount of range, that's just over 300, that's around 359 miles of range. And the Pro, the entry level one, the one with the 77 kilowatt hour battery, that has a sort of middle ground. But this one has the longest range, 424 miles of claimed range, which of course you're not necessarily going to see that much range, especially on a cold day. But it does go to show that, you've got, the technology is getting forward, that we're now seeing claim range of over 400 miles, which means that generally you'll get more range than what you would expect previously. I'd imagine you can get over 300 miles of range. When it comes to the driving experience, it's calm, it's refined, it's not that noisy. I'm not even hearing much of a noise from the electric motor. What I am hearing a little bit is a little bit of road noise. That's all I'm hearing. And as I get more up to speed, I'm hearing a little bit of, it's not wind noise, it's more like water. I mean, it's raining today, and I can hear it on the back of the roof, but that's all I'm hearing. Aside from that, it seems like a comfortable place to eat up the miles, to be honest. These seats are heated and really nice and comfortable right now. I really do like this material. I wasn't quite sure of it to begin with, but I am actually liking this material. This what is it called? It's called Art Velour Micro Suede. Yeah, it's really good. It really does let the heat through. I prefer it over leather actually, because leather can get quite cold and a little bit uncomfortable. But overall, yeah, the experience is really good. You get a heads-up display, which makes up for the smaller driver display. And you've got loads of information in there, including speed limits, your cruise control, even your battery level is in there. So yeah, I think generally the recipe that we have here, we've already seen in other Volkswagen group cars, any cars that are on the MEB platform. We've already seen this sort of recipe, but just to bring it together in an electric estate, now that should offer you more practicality. It should offer you more options, and obviously it comes with a really good benefit in kind tax rate. So if that's what you're after, then this is certainly a car to consider, because it might just fit your needs. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you do have any questions about this car, please let me know in the comments. But thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video. Thank you and take care.